Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest, and I've been looking to interview this dude for a minute. He's mad cool. I like this guy a lot. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, one last thing. I've said this before, and I'll say this again, and I'm going to continue to say this probably for a while. We lost a true dear friend to the industry, Meredith Logren. Couple weeks past, and she has a GoFundMe. Her family has one up, so if you can donate, please do. I think I've been messing this up. I keep saying that I'm going to put it in the show notes, and I never do. But I will try to get it in this time. So please, we'll look for her. She's a fantastic human being. Love her, miss her. But without further ado, let's get on to our guests. If I can find the damn button, there you go. Mr. Arthur Bellfield, what's up, Arthur?
You have that Indie Comics guide on Indie Comics Explained. This is historic. I used to joke that I was banned from this show, and you're like, you can come on anytime you want. I'm like, no, I like the band. It makes me feel infamous.
Right. No,
I'm feeling good. And yeah, the whole industry, the Meredith thing, I didn't know her on a personal level outside of watching her YouTube videos. So that was my connection to her. Right. And she had a very strong voice. She was very passionate about helping people in the industry. And that, I will always respect. Anybody that's like, hey, I want to help you become the best version of yourself. So we need more people like her. We do like her.
Yeah. She was awesome. But I mean, listen, she's always going to be missed. She's always going to be loved. Yeah, man. But here's the one thing I do know about her is that she wants us to keep on trooping.
And I'm glad that her co-host Nita, and she's continuing the show. And I saw your wife on it today.
Yeah,
they did a good job. I think they recorded it yesterday. I saw playback today, but they did a fantastic job of keeping it around, keeping that legacy going. So I salute it. I salute it.
All right, thank you, ladies. They're awesome. So
I'm my own co-host. I hope you don't mind. It's not
that's fine. I don't know if you ever watch my Sunday show. I have a co-host and a co-host. So I can't get enough of those guys.
I know, right?
Yep. So I mean, we were talking just before we got on here, right? We were talking about the state of the industry, right? You had mentioned, the state of the industry. People keep saying, and you're right, that this industry has been dying for the last 10 years. Right. But the thing is, in truth, they've been saying it's been dying for the last 40 years.
Exactly. Still here.
Right.
Digital is going to kill comics. Still here.
Right.
Crowdfunding is going to kill comics. Still here. Still here.
Yeah, still here. And the thing is, what is it going to take to kill comics? And, to be honest with you, it'd be the death of humanity, because I think it's always going to be here.
It's always going to be here in some form. I agree with people who say that it needs to change, but nobody can answer the question when you're like, okay, change to what? You want to get rid of floppies? Cool. You got graphic novels. You can sell graphic novels in bookstores all over the place, all over the world, where you can't sell a single floppy issue. I get that. Digital is still undetermined because nobody will release these digital sales numbers. Yeah. They won't release them. And somebody asked me the other day, they were like, well, you promote indie comics, right? I was like, yeah. They were like, well, why is it I see indie creators doing Indiegogo campaigns and Kickstarter campaigns, but I never see them promote their Comixology pages? And I'm like, well, you want 5 cents every quarter, they'll promote it.
Exactly.
You want that $2 royalty, they'll promote it. But a lot of creators have realized they're really not making that much money digitally using those platforms. Some people do better on their own websites than they do on Comixology, selling a PDF.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. Let me just read this real quick. She was the greatest ever. Took care of me always. Even left custody of me to Daphne. which is the only thing I ever question because now there's zero adult supervision. So there you go. So now the patients have taken over the asylum. But yeah, but you're right though. I get a royalty check once in a blue moon from Amazon, and it's usually about $14, $15. You know, I usually get that once a year. It's like, oh, here's a $15 check. Oh, great, thank you.
Exactly. I can go to McDonald's. A Big Mac combo costs about $15 depending on where you live now. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I asked this question the other day, and it's a very important question to me. What made you fall in love with comic books as a medium?
Well, it happened when I was a kid, man. It was one of those things where my brother handed me a stack. He just brought home a stack of books. He was like, "Here you go," and I was just like, and I started reading them. You know, started reading Thor, old Adam Warlock comics. You know,
I love those.
Yeah, and it's the originals. Jim Star. I'm old, so it's it was Jim Starlin. Keith Pollard on Thor. And then I met Frank. I ran into Frank Miller.
You did?
No, not in person. Like I ended up buying what is it? It was a Daredevil 168 when I was like 10, 11, right? And it was the first comic that screamed to me like it was the first comic that I read it, and I said, if I ever write comics, I wanted to be on this level.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I've told this story before. I don't know if I've gotten there just yet, but I'm still trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, man. It's just like, I just love, and as far as the love, it's one of those weird things. It just got into my blood. It's just like I just started collecting. The more collecting, then I had these guys around my area. They took me because we were in Spanish Harlem. We were up on 131st Avenue, Manhattan. The closest comic book store was on 84th Street and 2nd Avenue, which for us when we were kids, 10 years old, that was like going a mile into the city. That was like we were going to the other side of the planet. But we would go over there. They took me over there, and it was just like wow, this was Nirvana, And then there was that one. There was East Side Comics, and it was the Batcave, all within a 3-block area. These 3 comic book stops.
You lucked out.
Yeah, I did.
I grew up in, I call it a low-income area. It was rough.
I was there too.
Parent homes, drug dealers on the corner, crack, 80s, cocaine crack academic and all this and that. So here I am with this nerdy little black kid with Coke bottle glasses, denim jacket, tape on them, over there reading a comic book, trying to hide it inside of my science book. Right. Trying to I gotta read this next issue of Thor. And amazingly, in my mind, I thought people were gonna tease me about it. Most they would say this, "Oh, you read that little Superman book? You read that little Superman book?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, that's straight. Superman cool." And that was it. In my mind, I think I was gonna get beat up for reading a comic book, but nobody cared.
Yeah.
And then I found out some of these street dudes, they were big nerds. They were closet nerds. Toughest dudes on the block probably killed 2 or 3 people, but they could tell you everything about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They needed that escapism just as much as me.
Yep.
So that's how I got my respect. It's like I would let them, "Hey, you want to read this comic?" I would give them comic books to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In junior high school, I was short. I was tiny. I was like 4'4", maybe. I don't know. I was tiny, right? And I became best friends with the school bully.
Nice.
Because he loved comic books. And me and this other guy, Marcos, we were the only ones. It was the 3 of us. We were the only ones that were into it. And we were the only people he could talk about it.
Yep.
And that's it. We became, I've lost touch with him. But what's funny is I once in a blue moon, I run into him, and then we just sit back and talk, have some coffee, whatever, and I ran into his sister not too long ago. And it's just crazy, man.
It's crazy how you think you don't have a connection with somebody, and it doesn't even have to be comic books, but there's something human that unifies you.
Yep.
It's like I could be locked in a room with a racist. "Yo, you see that game last night? Yeah, man, that game was tight." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
you never know what's going to unify humanity. That's why I fell in love with comic books. I started reading. It was these old DC. It was like the Wizard or something. I think that was the name of the Warlock. I think it was Warlock. It was this
Spectre?
sword and fantasy type book.
Oh, yes, it's a Warlord.
Warlord, yes. The imagination in there blew me away, because here's a kid from Fort Worth, Texas.
Mike Grell.
That's who wrote it?
Yep. Mike Grell. Same guy did John Sable Freelance.
Oh, that's another good book.
Yep.
But, here I was, this poor little kid, food stamps, all that, public housing, all that. It gave me an escape and showed me a world that I could not even fathom. So now, when I write comics, and I love writing comics, I've unretired. I retired like 2 years ago. Now I'm like, you know what? I miss writing comic books. I miss talking my shit when I write a good story, because I'm like, my story is awesome, yours sucks. But I miss talking my shit. But being in this position, you're in the same position now, since you are now an influencer of the culture. So when you critique something, and you're nicer than me, because if I think it's trash, I'm like, yo, it's trash. But I will tell you why it's trash. But you use nicer words than I do. But being in this position now, whatever we create, people are holding it to a certain standard. So if we don't meet that standard that we set for ourselves when we critique, people are like, yo, you critique these 5 books, but look at your shit.
Right. No, you're right.
It's a balance.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a big Sturgeon Law guy, right? 95% of everything is crap, right? It's our job as creators to get into that 5%.
Yep.
That's our job. Understand? Most everything is crap. You look at Marvel, most of the stuff is crap, but they got 1 or 2 good books.
They do.
They do. DC, same thing. They 1 or 2 good books.
Have you paid attention to SpiderMan and Venom? Why has the Venom book been better than SpiderMan for the last 5 years?
Donny Cates. That's pretty much it. Donny Cates.
They put fucking Nick Spencer on Spider-Man and just left him there. They finally got rid of him, but it was boring ass Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't read a lot of Marvel or DC. Like, I read, if I hear something's interesting, like I've been reading Donny Cates' Thor.
Yeah.
I read some of the Venom. I'm probably gonna pick up the Omnibus. I'll probably read that because I like Donny Cates. I like his work, so I've been enjoying it.
What have you been reading? Your money out of your pocket and on that register.
Fucking Mike Mignola, the Mike Mignola verse.
Yeah.
BPRD, Hellboy, Screw on Head, you name it, Witchfinder, all that stuff. He puts out one of those thick omnibuses. I'm like, yo, just give me one.
Exactly. You said that like you're getting a slice. Yo, just give me one.
Yep, just give me one. And then, there's various things over at Image that I'll pick up. Like there's one called Baby Teeth I buy. That's not from Image though. I think that's a Donny Cates book. There's Once in Future by Karen Gillan. That's a good book. Dan Mora on the art. Beautiful. That dude, I think there's like 5 of him. Because he draws that book and he does a bunch of stuff for DC. And I'm like, he's either Jack Kirbying it, like he's in a chair for 14 hours a day, like, you know what I mean? Or he has like 15 assistants.
He might. And that's one thing I found out in the 90s was that these creators, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and so forth, they all had studios and they might do the basic line work, but they have their assistants and these people who were never credited in the book do a lot of the finishing for them. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was hanging
writers.
I was hanging out with some inkers back in the day, right? And they were like, yeah. This is, they were inking for Marvel. And they were like, yeah, I got like 2 or 3 monkeys that work for me. And that's what they called them. That was their assistant. They were monkeys. They were, it was like,
don't let this be your Joe Rogan moment.
But no, that was the term he used. You know what I mean? But it wasn't, derogatory like that. It was just meant as, these were the people that just performed for him, But yeah, they would just do the borders and the backgrounds and all that jazz. So, but it was cool though, man. I mean, it was really interesting sometimes hanging out with those cats. So let me ask you a question.
All right.
since you're unretired,
I'm retired.
What's next? What you're unretired, so you're back in the game. What's next?
Of course, Agent Solo, Raymond Leonard's Agent Solo. He won't let me stop writing the book. I was like,
Nice.
Raymond, I told the story arc, give another writer a shot or write it yourself. He's like, no, you did a good job on Agent Solo 1 through 4. I want you back on board. So he won't let me stop writing it. So I'm going to keep writing Agent Solo until he tells me, yo, you suck now. I want to write with this new kid from Jersey. Cool. But I got Agent Solo. I got a secret project that I was just offered by Spike Gerard. We did Lady Freedom for a Second Sight. So I got a secret project. I don't even know if I was supposed to say that. Anyway, but he just offered it to me. I haven't even accepted it yet, so I guess I'm accepting it. But I've stepped in the lane, and I guess it's partly due to the YouTube channel, that Indy Comics guy, of editing. I have a few books that are going to have my name on them, which I'm very proud of as an editor.
Okay, cool.
But I have a new manga book that I'm developing that I'm super excited about. For people who like the world building on One Piece, if they like the suspense of Attack on Titan, if they are fans of Dragon Ball Z as far as power-ups, they're going to love what I'm building right now in this manga world. I'm starting off as a one-shot, and I may not even do a crowdfunding campaign. I might just like, here, in your face, you can have it. Because I want people to read the story so much. And it's called In Tribes. And essentially, it's about the man on the moon. And he's dying. I just leave it at that.
Nice. Okay.
Now, a co-host.
That's water. Although as an indie publisher, should be filled with vodka.
True.
But as far as manga is concerned, like, what's your favorite manga? Like, what's that manga that you see, you come out and you be like, yo, I gotta have, I gotta get that.
Dr. Stone, Demon Slayer, and I know everybody's like, yeah, Demon Slayer's the shit. Demon Slayer, before it got popular, I'll just put it out there. Eden Zero, which is created by the guy that wrote Fairy Tail and Rave Master, is surprisingly dark and surprisingly better than Rave Master and better than Fairy Tail. I like seeing creators keep growing in their craft. A lot of times I tell people the conversations I have with prose writers, playwrights, screenwriters, and poets are a lot different from the conversations I have with comic book writers or those who only write comic books. Because if I was talking to somebody who wrote plays or novels, they'll start talking about theme and antagonists and things of that nature. And with comic book writers, that people that, of course, I'm generalizing, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have that cheat code called the artist, who you could be a so-so comic book writer and your artist will just excel you to the next level, or vice versa.
Yeah, this is very true. I mean, especially if you have deep pockets, you can hire someone who's really good.
Yeah,
and you can definitely push yourself. I mean, look, man. I mean, there's no secret. There's no shortage of titty books out there, right? Big-breasted women.
Killing right now. I need one. Like, I'm gonna do that. Like, I need a titty book.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm like, I make X. I make 2, 3, 4K on my campaigns, but I got a magical mouse, so I kind of expect my reach is a little limited. Even though he's naked half the time, I'm like, nobody's buying it for that. But you got these guys, they go out there and they put out these books with these lovely women, beautiful women, all over their covers, and it's fantastic. But like, I'm like, are people really reading those?
No, they got lotion in their hand.
Right, whatever turns them on, that's what's going on there, But yeah, that's just how that works.
No, I agree with you. You got like certain cosplayers; they are fully aware that they're sexy, or men and some women find them sexy. They're aware of their market, so they will purposely put all the products, whether it's posters, calendars, comic books out there because they know these hand masters are gonna buy it.
Yep.
I'm not mad at that. Whatever works for you. And I always wonder, I'm like, Film Force is a comic that's been around for decades.
Yep.
Nobody talks about it, but it keeps getting relaunched and it still has a good loyal, fan base of hand masters. But when you call these people and say your book is pretty much TNA, they get mad. They get mad. No, it's not. I'm like, you're fully aware of your audience.
Yeah.
You're fully aware. See, with your book, JD, I think you are targeting the wrong audience for your book. Even though it has some adult themes in it, I still see kids being your bread and butter. Like, you convert these, into children's books. Of course, have the comics and the graphic novels, but if you figure out a way to target them to get those young readers reading your book, you have a fucking gold. You're sitting on a fucking gold mine. Between you and Daphne, y'all imagination, y'all ability to go into this fantastic fantasy realm, I wish I can do that. I don't have that fucking skill set.
When we did San Diego for about, I don't know, there's a good 6-7 years. We did San Diego every year for like good 6-7 years in the early 2000s. What I found was my biggest audience. They would come every year. They'd be like, "Do you have something new? Do you have something new?" And at the time, Oswald wasn't a comic book. It was all prose, right? And my biggest audience were girls from the age of about 12 to about 16.
Yeah.
And I would have all these young ladies that would all come over. They're like, "Do you got something?" They would come every year. They would be like, and I always found that fascinating. I was like, wow, that's nuts. Because I never, I write for myself and then I like to share it. Right.
That's think about 12-year-old little girls all day. So
right. But yeah, that's what it is. I never thought that it would be like, okay, there's like these 14-year-old girls that are like, they're the ones that really appreciate it. Although I did have a decent amount of young boys and, all sorts of other people. So it was always cool. Here we go. Who are your literary giants? Who the dudes you look up to? Like, give me comics and prose.
Comics, Chris Claremont, Scott Liddell. I'm bad at pronouncing names. Dwayne McDuffie, Christopher Priest, and then some of the newer guys. Danny Coates. Actually, Nick Spencer. I talked shit about him a while ago, but I'll throw Nick Spencer because his comic Morning Glories was fucking epic.
Yeah.
Warren Ellis, and I know it's not popular to say Warren Ellis, but I'm not hanging out with him at a convention, so I'm safe. But, his books are good. He's a great writer, and we can't take that away. I don't know what happened in his personal life, not my business, but he's still a fantastic writer. Neil Gaiman never influenced me. I read all the Vertigo stuff. It was some good stories, but they were good, but I felt like the soul was missing. I felt like he was very heavy on plot and showing us what a great vocabulary he has.
Right.
But something was missing that me personally, other people may have found the connection. I couldn't connect with a lot of his stories because I was getting plot.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, where's the story? I'm just getting plot points to go from A to B. And I'm releasing a video soon. I reviewed New Remarkables by Carlos Raphael.
Yes.
And one of my main issues with this, and this goes back to my conversations I have with different types of writers. Great artwork. He tried to fill everything but the kitchen sink into this one book, which would have been okay with a more skillful writer that knows how to balance a large cast. Not every writer can do it.
Right.
It's a balancing act that takes years of practice, and you really have to know how to do it. But the killer, and I talk about this a lot, dialogue. The dialogue didn't match what I was visually seeing before me. And I do a full review. I'm releasing that video probably sometime this weekend where I'll do a deep dive on it. But that's okay because we're all here to learn. We're all here to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I review it, if he watches the video, hopefully he'll see what I'm seeing, and the readers will see when it comes to the dialogue and how a simple rewrite of the dialogue can make a D book into at least a C book.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because that art saves it.
Mm-hmm. All right, you got your copy. I'm waiting for mine.
I have ways.
Gotcha. And Carlos is on my show all the time. What the hell, Carlos? So, all right, we'll talk about this. I mean, we were talking about this before the thing. Is comics a career path?
Oh, you really want to know?
Yes.
Yes and no. I say no because a lot of people are creatives and not business people. Sometimes creatives, such as Todd McFarlane, they can become business people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they strictly just want to focus on their comic book. They're not thinking about it being an IP and going into multiple arenas, different genres, and maximizing that property. We don't live in a world where you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Somebody happens to have a copy of that book and approach you and like, hey, I think this would be a good toy line. And you're like, well, if you can sell it, we can work together. And the guy goes knocking on doors until they get you a toy deal, which eventually turns into a cartoon deal and so forth. We don't live in an age where you have that dark horse machine that had ties to different studios where you can get Buffy, Hellboy, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Wait, I don't know if that was that on Dark Horse? I forgot. But we don't live in those days where these companies have these machines behind them that give you a cheat code into movies and TV deals.
Right.
Damn, I forgot the question. Oh yeah, if comics is a hobby.
Career path.
A lot of people in the indie comics arena, they've gotten so hooked on fucking crowdfunding that they're not seeing anything else. They're not exercising the right to maximize that property. They're doing crowdfunding, that's it. And they're like, oh, I made 5,000, I made 15,000 on crowdfunding. Why do I need to go to a convention? Why do I need to put this on a website? And I'm like, well, this is the problem with crowdfunding for comic book creators. A good 40%, or it might be more in some cases, of your backers or other creators. Where are the fans? Fans aren't just happen to be hanging around Kickstarter all day. So I'd say if it's 40%, and that's a conservative number, or other creators, a lot of them are like, yo, JD, I'm going to back yours. Hopefully you'll back mine when I do that. And some people will literally get mad at you. And you never made this agreement with them, but they feel entitled because they backed something of yours that you should return that favor. You're like, look, I just paid my rent. I'm broke right now. I can't do this. Like, so conservative number 40% creators, unless you're part of those backer groups, then you're looking at probably 60 to 70. Then you have another 20% friends, 25% friends and family. And then the rest of it's just people just happen to see your campaign and checked it out. It's like, hey, that looks interesting.
Right.
So in order to really grow, people have to get beyond this crowdfunding mindset and letting that be their only revenue stream. They have to get beyond that and grow their IP. But again, a lot of these people aren't business people. They're latching on, and I think that's why some people latched on to Comicsgate. They saw these $50,000, $100,000 campaigns, and they were like, yo, I want some of that. And I said this in a recent video. The people that are getting that kind of money that are part of Comicsgate, they have pre-existing fan bases.
Right.
They have a built-in audience. So it's like you're doing your show. You already have an audience for your book. Now you're building an audience for JD. And the bigger your audience get on YouTube and all these platforms, a percentage of those will check out the book. And as I say, if you get to 100,000 subscribers, you may do a campaign. Next thing you know, you wake up, you got $100,000 in the bank. You're like, whoa. It happens. And so when you ask the question, is comics a career or is it a hobby? It depends on how you treat her. It's like a woman. How you treat her. She's going to be a good woman. She's going to be bad. She's going to make you some breakfast or she's not. She's going to spit on your food. So you have to be able to build a fan base. I don't care if you're using Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform. Build that fan base. Get your IP in as many places as you can. And the money will come. Not only that, don't just work on your property. Work on other people's properties because they may not see your main book, but they may see something you wrote or drew in somebody else's book. You just never know where that fan or potential fan will come from. So maximize your audience, grow your following, then I'll take you seriously. But the people who I don't take serious are the ones that are just like, yeah, I did a Kickstarter, I did 5,000. I'm like, did you pay yourself? No. They didn't pay themselves. I'm like, your time and talent are valuable. If you did not pay yourself, you're at a loss. You're at a loss. Production of a comic book, if you're a writer and you're hiring penciler, inker, colors, letters, all that, editors, you're already at a loss. You're already in the red. Right. You haven't even paid yourself. Then you're not even factoring in printing, the other fulfillment obligations and stuff like that. Because I used to ask the question, why is it that with the invention of crowdfunding, indie comic creators' output has not increased? It used to be people coming out of their pocket. You know, they're like, hey, I'm working at McDonald's at the drive-thru. I don't have that much money to invest in comics. So they put whatever $25 here, $25 there to pay the artists and stuff like that. They may knock out that one book a year, or if they're lucky, 2 books. Right. When I see these guys making $10,000, $15,000 each campaign, and we're still 2-3 years later wondering where the book is, I question that. Or even if we get the book, why is it you're still only releasing 1 or 2 books a year? And you're making 10 to 15,000 each time. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's because those guys are paying themselves and they're in that money. That's the problem. Those guys said, hey, let me take this and let me go do that. You know, I'll be honest with you. Look, I don't pay myself with my stuff. You understand? I'm one of those people where it's a hobby for me. You know, I got a day job. That's where I make my money. That's how I live my life. Then this is my very expensive hobby. Now, like I said it before, and I'll say it again. The only difference between me and most of the other guys is that I try to perform at a very high level as far as hobbies go. I try to get really good artists, you know, and as far as the writing is concerned, I've been doing it a long time. I do my best. And, you know, and that's what it is for me. And it's constantly a struggle to do the best books I can. But I also produce a lot of books. And the thing, what I had done, fortunately for my stuff, is that, man, I'm like, I think at this point, I have enough material for another 10 campaigns.
Nice.
You know, and it's just because I have that deep of a catalog behind me, pushing me, you know, because I built that before I got into, you know, actually doing, you know, crowdfunding. So it's like, so I got this deep catalog and it keeps growing.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep hiring, like, for the longest time, it was just myself and Jade Gonzalez, right? That's my main artist on the Oswald Chronicles. Now I'm working with this other guy called Lorenzo Tillis, right? So now I got 2 artists working at the same time. Now my main goal is to get a 3rd one working on it, you know, because, man, I just finished the last story, like finished writing it a few months ago, right? And I'm about 1,400 pages in, 1,500 pages in to the story. I got another 1,500 pages to go. But those 1,500 pages took me 12 years to get there. I don't want to take another 12 years to get to the end. You know, 5, 6. So I'm going to try to work with more people to make that happen. You know,
that'd be freaking awesome. Do you feel accomplished yet? Because I know you don't feel accomplished yet.
No.
You don't look back at what you've accomplished and be like, I did that.
Listen. I have a wall upstairs. Where I was telling you about Mike Mignola. That motherfucker. I got a wall. I got a. It just like all his BPR. It's like this big, bro. When I have one like that, they're like, yeah, that's it. That's it.
That would be freaking lovely.
Like with Tall Tales, we got an omnibus. Eventually I'll do a couple of omnibuses. Well, there'll probably be more than a couple of omnibuses for Oswald. But it's just like that's the thing. It's just putting out all that work. It's just like boom, boom.
You need a coloring book.
What?
You need a coloring book.
I probably should make one. I was thinking of doing one for Oswald.
Dude, the simple fact that you told me that these 12 to 16-year-old girls love your stuff, I'm sitting there like, you need a sponsorship by the Girl Scouts of America. Hold that thought.
No, go ahead. Go.
That's coming. That's why I got to answer this.
No, go ahead. Go.
Be right back.
No problem. I'll be here. Arthur's answering the bat phone. Let's hope it's not a booty.
No, it is.
The bat phone or bat phone or booty call?
Booty call.
Good for you.
She's British.
Nice.
As you probably seen, I went through a mental breakdown on Facebook like in October.
Right.
Wife cheated, left me for a millennial who plays with long hair and plays the ukulele.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna do a Taylor Swift. I'm writing this down. I'm gonna make a short film about this. I'm gonna monetize on my breakup. But I'm in what they call your hoe phase, where you've been in a long-term relationship. You forget other people find you interesting, other people find you attractive, and stuff like that. So I've been having fun. I just leave it at that. But back to you.
Listen. All you can do is enjoy life, right?
Exactly.
The best revenge, live well. That's it.
That's true.
Best revenge.
But I'm telling you, if you can secure a sponsorship by the Girl Scouts of America, Oswald Nation.
Listen, I hear you.
You might have to sell a few cookies, but it could happen.
Listen, as long as they don't bring them to me, I'm big enough. I don't need to get any bigger. I'm trying to lose weight. So let me ask you this, man. Like, you got your process. You write and stuff. What's the portion of the process that you most enjoy, and then what's the portion of the process you least enjoy?
The part that I enjoy is coming up with a new idea. Like, I love music, whether it's AFI, Korn, Cardi B, Drake, whatever. My musical tastes run the gauntlet. So a lot of times when I'm coming up with ideas, I'm listening to music. And it might just be something in the lyric that inspires me. Or I go public transportation. I go on the bus and I'm just looking at people. And I get an idea for a character by looking at somebody's face. And they're looking at me like, yo, why are you staring at me? I'm like, I'm sorry. You just look interesting. Like you have a story to tell. You've been through some shit. I'm getting that. But coming up with the initial idea is what I love the most about writing. The part that frustrates me, and that's why I don't like to read a lot of other people's stuff, because you don't want to be easily influenced and take parts from that story, and then they'll read it. They're like, damn, you took my whole plot. Like, you're doing this subconsciously.
Yeah.
At least most people are. So I try when I'm in that mode to create something, not read other people's stuff because I don't want to be influenced at that time. But you get frustrated when you're trying to flesh that ideal out. And sometimes when you flesh the ideal out, the original idea was so great, now it doesn't even resemble that original idea anymore. And you're just like, okay, this is just like everything else. It's kind of stale. I need to start over. And so just having that balance between that awesome idea and keeping that idea awesome by the time you fleshed it out, thought it out, that's the hard part.
Yep. Gotcha.
And I realized talking to a lot of creators, comic book creators, they don't outline. I outline anything, whether I'm writing a screenplay, a prose novel, which I got 2 wrote. One of them I released, one of them haven't, but the one I released was trash, so we don't speak on it. But You know, a lot of people, they get like the little index cards and they write down like scenes with movies. With comic books, my process is I'll get the index cards and I'll write down like page 1 through 5. What's going to happen on page 1 through 5? That's one index card. Page 6 through 10, that's the next index card, and so forth. And I'll pin them up on my whiteboard or the wall, and I can see the whole issue right there. Because every 5 pages, with me at least, that's going to equate to a scene.
Right. So that's a beat.
Bingo.
Right.
And so I look at that and I'm like, okay, what can I change? What is not needed? What scene is just extra long that I took pages 6 through 15 for this whole scene? And I look at that and I make the necessary changes before I actually go down and write the script.
Gotcha.
And when I write my script, I hold on to it for a month. After that month, I'll go through and read the dialogue. And when I read the dialogue, I'm like, oh shit, this dialogue is trash.
Right.
I'm from the Chris Claremont school of overwriting dialogue. So it's a good problem to have because it gives you a lot to chop. But some people will leave it all in there. And I'm like, this is a comic book. You have to cut some of that. People are going to read this. I see you, Joe McPhee. You're one of the people I'm talking about because you do the same thing. Let me edit your comic book so I can get rid of half your dialogue. He gonna cuss me out later.
They're like, mother, flower.
Because I got a Christmas card from him because I subscribe to his newsletter. Subscribe to Joe's newsletter so he won't beat me up. And I'm like, Joe, why is this Christmas card all this dialogue on it? He's like, they were saying Merry Christmas. Because, you know, Joe got that real deep voice, like, yeah. But I was like, cut all this dialogue. Just say Merry Christmas, and I'll be happy. I don't need a conversation with these girls. But he won't let me edit his stuff. He won't let me near it.
So basically what you're telling me, because I asked, it's funny, I always ask this question too. Are you a pantser or a plotter? You're a plotter. Because I'm the exact opposite. I'm a pantser. I sit down and I just start writing. I don't even think about it. I was like, it's a boom, and I just start writing. I'm like, fuck it, boom. And then, but the thing is, like I tell everybody, is like you have to be ready to, murder your darlings because it's in the edit. That's where I find the art is in the edit. Because you got to go in and you got to beat that script till it's where you need it to be. That's it.
You have to.
Yep, you have to.
You have to. Some people are just in love. They married to their script, their vision. And I tell people, and this goes back to career versus hobby. If it's a career, you're going to have to work for other companies. Other companies if you wrote a script, they may buy your script from you and gut it. Only thing resembling your original script is just a basic premise. Or the title. Sometimes.
Yep.
But a lot of people are afraid of rejection. A lot of people are afraid of being told they're not good enough. So they do not want to work with other people. They do not want to be told they're not good enough. And I get it. I understand. People want to pat themselves on the back. But if you want to play in the big leagues, you're going to have to be told you're not good enough sometimes. Lord knows I have.
Yeah.
Many times. Listen. I reviewed one of my books on my channel one time. I was like, yo, this sucks. This is like one of the worst things I've ever read, and I wrote it.
Right.
Because people think I'm all ego, but I'm humble egomaniac at the core. I am not afraid to admit when I'm trash or something I wrote is trash.
Right. As far as my work is concerned, and here's the thing. This is what I do. If I know it's trash, I don't put it out.
Bingo.
I'm like, this one will sit here because I've done them. I've read them. I'm like, oh, this doesn't work. Let's move this one over here to the corner. We don't have to look at that ugly baby is gonna die in the corner. That's it for that one. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean, man. It's like, it's rough. Because the thing is, the only way you're gonna improve is you got to take your knocks.
You got to.
You got to take your knocks. I had a set of guys. They had reviewed one of my stories, and they told me they had said there was like there is a info dump in the middle of your book, and I didn't realize it, and I was like, oh shit, there is. I went back. I ripped out 5 pages from the middle of that story, got rid of it, sealed up and it reads much better because of it. Because there is no info dump.
You were open to, receiving that feedback. Some people are not open to receiving the feedback. They feel like it's a personal attack.
Oh, believe me, I felt attacked. But I felt attacked, but I had to think about it. It's one of those things where it's like when you get at the moment, you're like, fuck you. I hate you. If I see your mom, I'm gonna smack that bitch.
Damn. It's on site. Take your mom at the laundromat.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where initially that's the initial reaction. Then you sit back and be like, all right, let me think about it. Because maybe they have a point. And then you go back, you read it, and you're like, oh, all right, yeah, this was not good. And then you just yank it out. You just fix it. And that's what I did. I yanked out 4 or 5 pages from that story. And like I said, I think it reads better for it. So sometimes you got to take those lumps. I don't know if you know this, but I worked professionally as a writer for about 3 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote La Blue Girl, which is an adult comic. I wrote.
Is that based off the anime?
Yeah.
That I spent my teenage years being
an
master on?
Yes.
I gotta read that because the anime is hard to find now. But
oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
A lot of nerds because that people. Okay, if you are new to anime, you may have never seen this. La Blue Girl, because it was one of the first. Because remember, back then, only about 5 or 6 anime titles were released in America.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ones that slipped past customs, and we got.
Yep,
along with Sailor Moon and a few others. And I remember seeing it at Suncoast Video. Was it called Suncoast Video? And going home watching that, and I was like, oh shit, this cartoon's got me aroused. I was a teenage handmaster, so.
Yeah, but I also wrote
that. Respect that you wrote a comic book based off that. Respect.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was funny because my friend who helped me get the job, he was the illustrator, he was the artist, right? Matt Lunsford. He had illustrated the first 2 issues based off of the original OVA. So the first 2 issues is from the OVA, and then they say, okay, from issue 3 to 12, we want a brand new story. I was like, okay, no problem. So I came up with something. It was just like, and then I wrote Tenchi Muyo.
Damn.
I did 6 issues on that. I did a 1 issue on Ixer 3. And then there was one called Phantom Quest Corps. And unfortunately, those 2, pisses me off. I finished those stories, but they never released the other issues. And I was just like, whatever.
It happened.
Yeah.
So which do you like better? Doing your own stuff, of course, there's some personal satisfaction in it, versus working on bigger properties with a bigger audience. Which do you prefer?
I prefer working on my own stuff because it's actually because of those experiences I never pursued a career as a professional writer. It's because I don't like pitching. CB Cebulski was my EIC. He was my editor when I was doing La Blue Girl, and he's the EIC over at Marvel Comics, and I've seen him for years. I've never asked him for a job, and I never will because I'm not interested in writing Spider-Man. Now, if he offered me the job, I wouldn't necessarily say no, but I'd have to have a serious conversation, as to like, I'm not going to take instruction from the editor.
One thing, see, you may not know about this, but there's a secret Black comic book creator meeting that's held every month at Joe McPhee's house.
Really?
One of the questions we ask each other while Joe McPhee's over there cooking chicken and shit. Because I love chicken. But
I love chicken too.
If you have a Black comic book character and they wanted to make a movie, and they said, we want to make this movie with your Black character. Wait, we want to make a movie about your comic book, but your lead character, we know is Black. We'll give you $20 million and we'll make this movie. We'll invest $50 million, but you pocket $20 million. But you got to change him, and the character's going to be white. The question we ask ourselves is, will you take that deal? That's, it's Black History Month. That's one of the questions we ask at the secret Black comic book creators meeting that we have at Joe McPhee's house when he's over there cooking chicken in a pink apron. So a lot of people say, no, I wouldn't take that deal. My character's Black. And I'm looking at him like, you're full of shit. That's $20 million. Like, you can make another damn comic book character.
Right.
It's one of those things, but you really would have some people turn that down because of integrity, because of a sense of pride in what they created and what that creation means to them. Me, I'm not married to anything I create. I'm taking that $20 million. That's going to change my life.
Right, right.
But I admire people like that. It's like the Dave Chappelle when he walked away from $50 million. He's like, no, I'm good. I don't want to control my comedy.
He was already rich, though,
That's true.
He could do that. He wasn't working at Walmart.
Nah.
That's the difference. Like, if you're working at like a regular day job, you're like $20 million, change the character. You got to really think about it, But also the situation could be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Where, Eastman, or is it Laird? Is he I think Laird. He ended up selling it to the toy company. Right. So he sold it to them, but in his contract, he said he has it in his contract that every year he could do I think 15 comics a year for himself and release them, and that's his. And why not have that addendum in there? It says, well, you do your thing, I do my thing. What's the big deal?
Is there something that would not make you sell your IP? They just came to you with a truckload of money. What would make you not sell your IP?
Well, like that clause.
A cat.
No, that clause where it's like, we own it throughout the universe and all of it, throughout all of reality and all that stuff, and you can never work on it ever again. If I could have that clause where I could do my thing and you could do your thing separate, fine. But if I can't work on it, no. Especially since I'm not done. You know what I mean? I'm not done. So, if I was done, that's we could debate it, but but I'm not done yet, so it's one of those things. All right, Arthur, check it out, man. We've been at this for a minute, but we're not done just yet. But before we get to that point, I got some goofy questions for you. Before we get there,
all right,
where can people find you and your work, sir?
They can find me on YouTube, That Indy Comics Guy. I'm big on there. I'm growing. You see this forehead? It's even bigger on my channel. So check it out, That Indy Comics Guy. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find me on Twitter. Also, That Indy Comics Guy. If you want to email me at battleeulogy@gmail.com. We can talk comics. We can talk about my forehead. One day, I will draw a comic book on here. I'm everywhere you want to be, like Visa. I think it's Visa. But yes, That Indy Comics Guy YouTube channel. I update. I try to have a regular update every week. I talk comics. I talk pop culture. I talk about the industry. I try to give some tips on writing, on creating, as well as just some fun stuff. I'm starting a new segment called "Is It Dope or Should We Trash It?"
Right.
It's my new way of reviewing comic books, and I have my chat nerds. They let me know because my opinion is just my opinion. I rely on people that comment because they correct me. They let me know, like, yo, Arthur, you're full of shit. I accept that. Let me learn. Let it be a teachable moment. So I really rely on the people that watch my videos to give their feedback and let me know some areas where I made a mistake or I misspoke or something like that. So, yeah, That Indie Comics Guy YouTube channel is the main place you're going to find me.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get on to these goofy ass questions. First, if you had the choice of any artist to work with to illustrate one of your stories, living or dead, don't worry about budget, they get signed. who would you want to work with?
Jack Kirby, of course.
Okay, cool.
Jack fucking King Kirby.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, I can accept that. Now, if you were given the golden ticket and they called you up to the big companies, it doesn't matter which company it does. It could be any of these companies, and they said you pick any IP. Which would be from one of these big companies? Which would be the IP you'd want to illustrate or write? I should say.
Damn, that's a hard question. Like, I would love to write Spider-Man just to put the New York back in Spider-Man and show that this is a kid from Queens. He had all the cool villains, and for a guy that was average looking, he dated like chicks that look like supermodels and shit. But that would be the easy answer. The hard answer would be, give me a Plastic Man.
Okay.
If I can make Plastic Man into an A-list character, I'm a damn good writer. If I can't, then all the people that I reviewed their comics, they can all band together at their secret We Hate Arthur club meeting and tell me how bad I suck and throw a pie in my face. They can do it. I accept that fucking challenge. Because it's easy to write a mainstream character that everything's established. You really don't have to do that much. It's not a challenge for you as a writer to write Batman, Superman, X-Men, Avengers. It's not a challenge as a writer. But to take a D or C-list character and turn that character into a mainstream character, that's where greatness happens.
Fresh News is asking, is Alan Moore the best indie writer? No, he is.
Wait. First, Alan Moore is not an indie writer. Alan Moore is known throughout space and time. He is not an indie writer. It's like these Image comic guys still talking about they're independent. No, you're not. You can get an interview with any magazine, any publicist will answer your calls. Like, they are not independent. They made $1 million plus in the 90s. If they still have it, I don't know.
No, I think because he did the H.P. Lovecraft stuff with Avatar.
Don't mean nothing, because he's still a mainstream writer.
Oh, yeah. Well, not to mention that stuff is boring as fuck. I mean, it is boring. Interesting, but boring.
Did you like man? Did you read the graphic novel?
Yeah, I enjoyed Watchmen. I enjoyed it. I can't say it it's one of
into it.
Here's the thing. I can't say I enjoyed it. I can say it was interesting. You know what I mean? It was interesting. What I enjoyed of his was Swamp Thing. I love his Swamp Thing run. That was Swamp Thing and Miracle Man. For me, those are two Alan Moore works that I absolutely love. I read Swamp Thing, I can't even tell you. And then the Miracle Man, I hate pulling them out because I have all the original issues. But every now and again, I pull them out to read them.
I always used to confuse Alan Moore with the producer Rick Rubin. They look just alike to me.
I know what you mean too. I know exactly what you mean. You could write Great Eel O'Brien. What I don't even know what that's a reference to. I'm lost.
Joe McPhee knows a lot of old ass writers and artists that I've never heard of because he's super old.
Right. I mean, I'm old too.
These people up from.
Fresh News says Plastic Man is easy.
How?
I don't know.
Turn Plastic Man into an A-list character.
Then he says, why aren't they? It says, so if they make money, they indie. Come on, brother. He said they. So in my opinion, Watchmen is a masterpiece. It's a great book. It's a great book. It's funny though. It's one of those books that I feel is like when it's held open to debate. It's as great as Dave Gibbons is. Could someone else have filled those shoes, fill that role? There you go. Nice.
I needed a change.
And what do we got? It says, I would challenge that comic guy to write someone like Ted Kort, Blue Beetle. L. O'Brien is always Plastic Man. You feel they're writing him. You see, you don't even know the character's name. That's terrible.
That's why I want the challenge of turning him into an A-list character.
There you go. All right, cool. All right, so look, let's move on. We've had our fun. Let's move on to our. I got some comparatives for you. I'll softball you, and then we'll work into some of these. Captain America or Batman?
The go-to answer is Batman because Batman can be gods and elders of the universe. But I would pick Pac-Man. I would pick Captain America. Mm-hmm. But now, you got to say which Captain America.
Right.
I'm going to go with Bucky. Steve Rogers cannot kick Batman's ass. We all know Falcon can't fight. So I'm going to go with Bucky as Cap kicking Batman's ass in the 3rd round.
Nice. Okay, cool. Godzilla or Gamera?
Gamera. Godzilla's overrated. He's slow. Mm-hmm. He got one move. Give him an Altoid, he's out of there.
Nice.
Gamera, 1st round.
You're old. You might know this one. Don Bluth or Chuck Jones?
You're ancient alien.
Listen, we're both ancient. It's okay. Don Bluth or Chuck Jones?
Damn, that's hard. I'll go with Chuck. Chuck, okay. 4th round.
Nice. Oh, manga or anime?
Of course, the manga fans are gonna say manga.
Mm-hmm.
And the anime fans are like, "Yo, the anime was better." But damn, I'm gonna go with anime. I don't have time to read and collect all these volumes of the mangas. I'm not gonna lie. I started One Piece. I'm on episode, I think 201 of 1,000 and something. I got a long way to go. Right. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. It's slow torture. But this is what I did when I retired from writing comics. I started reading a lot of manga and watching a lot of anime. But I'm going to go with anime in the 10th round.
Nice. Doctor Strange or John Constantine?
I would want to drink beer with John.
Mm-hmm.
He's cool. He is the type you can go clubbing with. You get a couple strippers, and then wife don't have to know. Cool. Doctor Strange, I feel like he's a narc. He would tell.
Right.
But yeah, I got to go with Constantine and the 2nd round.
Gotcha. Neil Gaiman or Grant Morrison?
I said earlier, Neil Gaiman has not influenced me.
Gotcha.
Grant Morrison, as long as you keep him away from X-Men, because he wrote a good story, it just wasn't an X-Men story, and you keep him away from Batman, because I don't know what he was drinking, smoking, whatever. He did not even realize he was writing Batman. I don't even think he realized he was writing X-Men. He just said, "Hey, write this," and he just wrote some stuff.
Right.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't Batman. It wasn't the X-Men, but it was stuff that we could read. And it was good. It just wasn't Batman. It wasn't the X-Men. It lacked the essence.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair?
I've been a Hulkamaniac for 50 million years. Nice. NWO, all that stuff. I gotta go with the Hulkster. Plus, his daughter's hot as hell, and if she's watching this, hit me up.
Nice.
Wait a minute, she's racist. Didn't she say something racist that got canceled years ago before we canceled people? I gotta look.
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna say allegedly. I don't remember, but I'll still do her.
Nice. Spock or Data?
Spock is boring. I hate to say it. Data was just kind of cool, just laid back, being gold or whatever color his skin was. He was cool. So gotta go with Data. 1st round, no question.
Nice.
And I would love to see them fight. That's why I'm like 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round.
All right. Bone or Cerebus?
I never read Bone.
Oh, okay.
I read Cerebus, which was good. Bone kind of creeped me out. I don't know why. I didn't know the target audience for it. It looked kind of weird, but I heard it was good. But Is it around now? Remember they were going to come out with a cartoon years ago?
No, they're doing it on Netflix.
Wait, they put it on Netflix?
Yeah. Well, it's not out yet. No, it's not on it. They're working on it.
Oh.
He got a big contract with them. All right. Frank Miller or Alan Moore?
Alan Moore looks like he does a lot of drugs, allegedly. So he would be more fun to party with. Writing wise, who influenced me the most? I would go with Frank Miller.
Okay. Nice. All right, cool. All right, we've been through a few of these already. We'll do a couple more. We'll wrap it up. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Lord of the Rings. Star Wars fans have ruined Star Wars for me because they overhype every little thing. And I'm sorry, Jedis get killed with one little swing. They are weak. Jedis are weak. Yeah, I said it.
Nice. Oh, Secret Wars or Crisis on Infinite Earth?
Crisis on Infinite Earths had a bigger influence on the industry than Secret Wars. And it also had a personal influence on me by introducing me to characters and concepts that I had never heard of because I grew up a Marvel guy. So when I read Crisis on Infinite Earths, it really inspired me and, made me want to get into more DC characters because at first I thought DC is just corny as fuck. Everybody got a cape and a secret identity. What the hell?
True. Okay. Fair enough. All right, we'll end it on this. Stan Lee or Jack Kirby?
Jack Kirby, Stan Lee. I met him 4 times in my life. Great salesman, great egomaniac. He inspired me. But, and this is the crazy part, since he died, you think a lot of people that have met him over the years would have all these Stan Lee stories. And you never hear these Stan Lee stories. Not the character that he portrayed publicly, but the man who, who he really was. I have a couple of those real life Stan Lee stories when he got out of this Stan Lee persona and was actually a human being. So, but he takes credit for a lot of stuff that he partially created, had some hands on, some hands in, but I got to go with Kirby just for his work speaks for itself.
All right, cool. I got one last question for you.
All right.
You done a video a few years ago, maybe a couple years, maybe less, maybe a year and a half, right? So what's the deal with basic white bitches, and why do you want to do comics about them?
I don't remember this video. I'm gonna get canceled.
That's an awesome video. It's funny as hell.
Was I drinking?
You might have been.
I love my parents. As a black nerd, white women love black nerds. They find us safe. Some of them are a little disappointed because they always want to date a black guy, and they're like, "Oh, you're not a thug. You're not a rapper. You don't have drugs." So they're a little disappointed. But we're that safe type of black guy that they can bring home to their mom and their dad who's slightly prejudiced, but put down a Confederate flag when we came over to dinner. That was nice of them. I appreciate that. But I like writing about basic white chicks because Hollywood has done such a great job of giving us that blueprint with every romantic comedy ever, showcasing these manic pixie dream girls. So it makes it easy to write these women. Now, having said all that, I appreciate all women. All women are great. All women are powerful. All women are pro-choice. I appreciate women. I love women. I have one coming over tonight. Like, I love women, all shades and all that. But there's something fun with stereotypes that you got to laugh at. It's like people saying they never laughed at a racist joke. I'm like, why are you lying to yourself? You just told me one last night. Why are you lying? But, in public, people want to put these personas on and be all PC and stuff like that, which has killed comedy. Comedy is meant for us to look at our inner selves and laugh, because sometimes you got to laugh at yourself.
Yep.
So, yes, I will forever write about the basic white bitches. I'm scared to write about basic black bitches because they'll beat me up.
Nice. Yeah, I met some of those ladies. They're beautiful, but they can be deadly.
They can.
They can. Exactly.
I got
Arthur,
a question for you.
Go ahead. Go. What you got?
Well, I got the one question I wanted to ask, but I'm not going to ask that one because we're almost out of time. And my special guest, she's going to pull up in a minute. So I'm not going to ask that.
All right.
How does it feel to be married to someone in the same field as you? And how do y'all compete creatively against each other? Do you feed off that energy? How does that work?
Well, we met because I was doing a comic book and I was opening a comic book company. That's how I met her. So I married my my co-creator. As far as like I wouldn't say we compete because it's not really. I only compete with myself. If she wants to feel as a competition, it's fine. I don't think she does, but I only compete against myself. But what?
I'm like, that's like shots fired.
No, that's like no. That I'm just saying if that's how she wants to feel about it, that's fine. I'm like whatever. But we're a team, man. Like we're like we're unit number one. And like we're like we work together, we support each other. I have my book, The Oswald Chronicles. She has her book, Ego Raven, and then we have Tall Tales. You know what I mean? So she got hers, I got mine, and we got ours.
Do y'all think y'all are like one of the last great comic book power couples?
Wait, hold on. I'll put this up for you. Here we go.
Separate bathrooms and offices, yes.
This is what makes the relationship works.
It really does.
Yep.
Because women do stuff in bathrooms, and you're just like, I walked in on my ex-wife, she was shaving her ass. And I'm like, I didn't know women did that. I didn't know that was a thing. But apparently shaving your ass is something that women take great pride in. Mm-hmm. I don't know why she was doing it, but apparently it's something women do.
Right. And you were probably sitting there going, I didn't need to know this.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, separate bathrooms. There you go. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we work as a team together. As far as us being, I don't know, there are plenty of couples. We just, since we're both out there so much, I guess we're doing all right. We're good.
I like that. I miss power couples that support each other, that motivate each other, and feed off that creative energy. That is sexy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It works for us. Listen, we've been doing it for 30 plus years. We got another 30 plus years to go.
Wait, what happens in 30 years?
No, I'm just saying it keeps going, man. It just keeps going.
Oh, like, wait a minute. What do y'all got planned in 30 years?
No, I said 30 plus. We're going to keep it going, All right, Arthur, bro. This was a lot of fun. We got to do it again eventually. One more time. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
They can find me on YouTube at That Indy Comics Guy. Like, subscribe. I talk about pop culture, comic books. I teach you how to perfect your best self and your best life. I don't talk about basic white bitches on a regular basis. But I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there to make enemies. I'm just there to be honest with my opinion. If you like it, awesome. If you don't like it, let me know. Because what you say may change my mind about time and space. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate you, JD, for having me.
Thank you, sir. It was awesome. It was, like I said, it took a while, but we finally got it together.
I'm not banned no more.
Never, sir. Never were, never will be. So thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is JD Calderon. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and DeviantArt, all under JD Calderon. Talking to you soon. I have a show on Sunday with a bunch of great creators, and I'll be seeing you later. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.